Hi guys, welcome back. Well, here at Simple Acre Homestead, we are all under the weather. And it's that kind of cold or flu that once it hits the first person, you just know it's going to come for everybody. And that's what happened. Bert came down with it first. He was probably sick for a good week before our youngest got it. And just as she was showing signs of recovery, the other 3 kids started showing signs that they were getting sick. Now, as for me, I've been lucky. I've only got a little bit of a sore throat and a tickle, and I still have the energy to put in some work today. Of course, just in time for Christmas, the whole household gets sick, and that stinks, but I'm thankful to have prepared fairly early for Christmas. Don't have a whole lot left to do. And I still have the energy today to work on something that will hopefully benefit us all. I'm going to make a batch of elderberry syrup, and I'm bringing you along just to watch. I'm not teaching. I don't have any expertise in this. I've done it once before with a very small amount of elderberries, made a very small amount of syrup. But this year our harvest was so good with our 3 or 4 trees that I can actually make a full batch. So just bringing you along to see. I'm sure many of you know a whole lot more about this than I do. I looked up recipes on the internet and they were very similar, so I just took from here and there and kind of threw something together. Okay, I'm going to start here with 8 cups of fresh elderberries. They were actually frozen, but they are the whole berries, they're not dried out. And I'm just going to add 1 cup of water to that. Now there are still a little bit of stems in here, but I'm not going to worry about that because it's going to be strained really well with cheesecloth and they'll come right out. All right, so 1 cup of water to 8 cups of elderberries, and I'm just gonna bring it to a low simmer, not quite a boil, just to make them more tender and easy to mash. And then I'm gonna add the spices. All right, now it's slightly mashed up and I'm gonna add the spices and continue to simmer. So I'm gonna start with 1 teaspoon of ginger. Ground ginger. Of course you could use fresh as well, but this is what I have on hand. All right, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And you could substitute with 2 whole cinnamon sticks. And 1/2 teaspoon of cloves, either whole or ground. I have whole. All right, so I'm just gonna stir those spices in there and let it continue to simmer for 30 minutes and check it out in half an hour and see how it is. All right, so it's been simmering for half an hour and it's looking good. It cooked down a lot. I'm going to strain it with a strainer and cheesecloth into this bowl for now. As soon as it's cool enough for my hands, I'm going to squeeze the pulp to get as much of the juice out as possible. And stay tuned to the end of the video to see what we're gonna do with the pulp because I hate waste, especially food waste. So after we get all the juice out of here, we're going to put it back into the pot and continue to simmer it until it simmers down to half the quantity that it was. We're going to measure it and watch for it to reach the halfway mark. Okay, I'm going to use a smaller pot this time just because it's cooked down so much. And we won't have the actual berries in there. Okay, so I'm just gonna squeeze out as much of the juice as I can. I'm not gonna worry about it too much because like I said, I'm still gonna make use of the pulp. All right, so I'm just gonna use this stick to see what level it's at right now. And I'm gonna simmer it and check it once in a while and see when it gets to the halfway mark. Okay, well that took a while, but I think we are down to the halfway point now. So I'm gonna shut off the heat and we're gonna measure how much is in here. It's amazing how you can start with so much to end up with so little. But I have just about 1 cup. Yeah, 1 cup. So I'm gonna put that in a new pot and let it cool down for a little while. And I'm gonna measure out 1 cup of honey to add to this. You don't wanna heat the honey over the stove because that'll break down its medicinal qualities and you wanna retain those. You just wanna mix it with the warm liquid, just enough that it'll mix nicely. So we're gonna let this cool and I'm gonna measure honey. Now raw honey is always better, but I don't have any, so this will do just fine. You can always use other sweeteners, but honey itself does have a medicinal quality, so it is the best choice. So we have 1 cup of honey and just waiting for that to cool, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, now it's cooled a little bit, still quite warm though. Just gonna add the honey and stir it in well. This smells so good. Okay, we'll put it back in there for easy pouring. All right, and there we have it. Some elderberry syrup as well. And this is such a pretty deep, rich purple color. Perfect for a 500 milliliter jar. Okay, so I'm gonna seal it up, put a date on it, and stick it in the fridge for use. It is good in the fridge for at least 3 months. Normally I do multiple batches of pretty much any recipe, but 3 months to use this seems reasonable. I don't wanna have any going bad afterwards. I'd rather have the elderberries in the freezer to do fresh batch when needed. This is so pretty, and I really think that this would be a much appreciated gift if you were to make it as a Christmas gift. Now, of course, last year I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna make all these homesteady gifts, you know, teas and jams and syrups. I didn't get around to it. But next year, this year's for practice. Next year, I think I'll actually do that. I am happy to have that made. I'd love to know if you guys do this, if you've made elderberry syrup, if you have any difference in the recipe and how it works for you. I'm gonna let you know how it works for us. And now I'm gonna use the pulp. Okay, I was just so happy to have all these elderberries grow this year, such a good harvest, and I just can't stand the thought of any of it going to waste. So I'm going to take this pulp, put it in the dehydrator, and have it as a loose leaf elderberry tea. It'll be mild because I already took so much of the nutrition out of it, but I think it'll still have a lot of benefit to it, and it's a way to use it without letting it go to waste. I'm just gonna put it in a single layer. I don't know how long this will take to dry, but there's really no hurry. Okay, and on. That's it. That was my adventures for today with elderberries. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry if there wasn't a little more enthusiasm in this video, but like I said, we're all under the weather and just trying to get through. I do appreciate you joining me, and I'd love to read any comments you may have, and please like, subscribe, and share, and join us next time. Thanks so much, guys.